Lesson 5, More Changes. We're going to be talking about the Genoa Indian School and recognize the efforts Plains Indians made on the reservations to preserve their culture. So, life on the reservations became even harder for Native Americans. Their struggles included rundown houses, poor land, they couldn't grow enough crops to feed their people, they had very little money, little or no job training, and they lived far away from jobs or towns. So, if you think about it, Native Americans lived their lives off of the land and they used the buffalo and the seasons. So their life changed significantly when they started living on reservations. So they didn't have the same types of jobs that the white people had, and they used crops and food in different ways. After a time, all Native Americans were free to leave the reservations. Some stayed to be close to those things they had always known, while others embraced the cultures of the white man. These Native Americans found good jobs becoming successful lawyers, doctors, teachers, ranchers, actors, soldiers, political leaders, and business professionals. But they did have to leave the reservations to be successful in those areas. The Genoa Indian School is in Nebraska. So after the Pawnee left Nebraska, their old reservation building and grounds in Nebraska were still usable. The U.S. government decided to turn the buildings into a boarding school for all Native American tribes. Indian children from all over our country were sent there. They spoke different languages and had different cultures. At school, the children were not allowed to speak their native language. Their long hair was cut. They traded in their Indian clothes for suits or dresses. Many of the students used the skills they learned to make a living in the white man's world. Very few of them went back to the reservations because their newly learned skills were not always welcomed on the reservations. If you were forced to move to a new building in a new place, learn a new language, and wear different clothes, how would you feel? I know that I would very much struggle with that. And I know some of you maybe have experienced a little bit of that. So, moving to Omaha or changing schools, maybe you speak Spanish at home, but then you speak English in school, or even if you go to a school that maybe has a uniform, that would be a really hard transition. So, one thing that was important is preserving their Native American culture. So, preserve means to maintain or keep alive. Today, the Winnebago, the Santee Sioux, the Ponca, and the Omaha have reservations in Nebraska. They work to carry on the traditions and culture of their people. The men, women, and children are proud of their history and this land. Ways that they celebrate their culture is things like a powwow. They get together dressed in regalia. Regalia is special clothing decorated with beads and feathers and has special meanings. At a powwow, there are dances. Some of the dances are done in a circle with drummers and singers in the center. Sometimes there are contests to see whose dance movements are most like a bird, a deer, or other animals. Although powwows are a time for fun and celebrations, they are also a time to show respect for the culture and history of the Native American people. And these beautiful pictures here show some of the regalia that Native Americans wear during